Haverhill Annual Public Meeting open. First, apologies for absence.
Actually none. We have all the councillors here. We haven't received any apologies from any of the public, so we have a full... Is this on, Steve?
Yeah?
Right.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
I have to throw my voice otherwise. The minutes of the meeting held on the 18th of May 2015. We all had a chance to check through them. Could I have a proposer for these minutes, please? David, and a seconder? And a show of hands, please. Okay, thank you very much. I'll now start the Town Mayor's report. It's rather a lengthy one, because dealing with quite a lot of issues. Firstly, I would like to say a huge thank you to all who elected me into the role of Mayor last May. It has been a huge privilege to wear the wonderful and much admired Haverhill chain. And I couldn't have done it without the incredible support of Ivor, my husband, best friend and Mayor's consort. We've endeavoured to help change the image of Haverhill after years of unfair and unwarranted bad press by promoting the town as not being stuck in a corner, but actually a valuable gateway to 3 counties and ready for expansion and investment. Wearing the chain has allowed me to become one of the chain gang, which is what they call the group of mayors and council chairmen who are elected to represent and promote all that is good and great about their town. Ivor and I have travelled thousands of miles outside of Haverhill, attending venues in Norfolk, Cambridgeshire, Essex and Suffolk. And with the combined efforts of David Roach, our Deputy Mayor, we've covered more than 300 events. And you become very aware just how many good people there are out there running voluntary groups, selflessly giving their time to help others. Haverhill has a huge amount of such talent, skill and goodwill, which is evidenced in the many groups we have here. Vicky Phillips, Mayor's Secretary and Assistant Town Clerk, has taken very good care of me this last year, and many other mayors before me, all this while at the same time studying for her final exams, which I am delighted to say she has passed, and I'm sure you would all like to join me in congratulating her. Colin Poole, our Town Clerk, Nick Keeble and the whole Arts Centre team run an amazing venue here, and I find the team members very versatile, and at a moment's notice they can cover each other's jobs with ease when necessary. On Friday I had the pleasure of presenting 20-year certificates to 4 members of staff, and I think that says a lot about the quality of our team. Since last May, the attendance of council meetings has been excellent, and it's very heartening to see so many residents attending and participating in the meetings. Haverhill is undergoing great change, and we need to work together to get this, you know. That we have listened to you is apparent in the changes successfully achieved this year. Council has worked hard at saving Flint Cottage, the adoption of the youth strategy, and the town handyman has made a good start at getting jobs done which have been neglected for a long time. The council took over the Community Ambassador project to support those volunteers in reporting issues to the borough and county, and you'll have seen many organised litter picks around town recently. Our school children have been particularly good at this and worked very hard and very willingly to tidy up the area. And I'm not surprised at all by this, as our schools here in Haverhill have a wonderful reputation in producing top-grade, talented youngsters. The Arts Centre has undergone a £125,000 improvement programme with new sound and lighting systems in the auditorium and a full makeover of the cafe, bar and studio. There are also plans for further changes, such as upstairs toilets and much needed expansion to the building. Last year, so many people were distressed by the state of the old Corn Exchange building that I suggested to Colin, our town clerk, that it may be possible for the town council to purchase it and convert it into a council chamber and registry office. This would free up the studio room, which we have outgrown, and provide a smaller venue for groups who cannot afford to hire a larger venue. Colin put into the agenda to assess interest from council, and it was agreed to have a survey done on the building to see if it was viable as a project. The survey showed that it's not an impossible task to rescue it, but would take a considerable amount of money, to do so. There had been several attempts previously to rescue it, but the groups involved didn't succeed, or proceed I should say. Shortly after the survey results were made available, up pops a potential purchaser, and with the possibility of it being sold, a decision had to be made on whether we should proceed. So it was decided that a proper business plan was required. Colin has devoted many hours to this project, and his perseverance and research has bought us valuable time to put together a proper business plan to see if it is a viable proposition. And I know that a number of people are concerned about the cost of this, but it is the responsibility of the town council to spend money wisely, and especially surveys and researches are very expensive. If the plan shows it to be a viable project, then that money would have been spent wisely and allow us to go forward to try and save this once proud old building. And the wonderful pictures and history of the building so well published in this week's Haverhill News really makes you want to rescue it for the future. But if that plan shows it's not a viable proposition, then the money spent on it will prevent many hundreds of thousands of pounds being wasted. There is also concern that this project would delay the plans for the Arts Centre, but we would like to reassure those concerned that this building is the cultural hub of the town and will always be put first. Concerns were raised that one Haverhill meetings were held in secret. Well, on becoming mayor, I was allowed to sit on the board and look forward to hearing some juicy secrets, but found there were none. What I did find was a bunch of hard-working people from groups such as the Chamber of Commerce and other groups in the area, all giving their time freely to help Haverhill prepare for the future, with meetings being chaired by Sarah Howard, MBE. And one of the things to come out of these meetings was the town master plan. Much time and research has gone into this plan, and it promises a special future for our town centre, which I am sure will attract larger retail chains. And to help with this, the Borough Council has taken a significant financial hit, delivering the Pound Stretcher store to the town on a short-term lease to ensure the site can be unlocked to allow the building site to be adapted for the master plan. Again, Colin has used his considerable negotiating skills by working with Lauren Haverhill so that meetings are now held in public. Haverhill is heavily dependent on its industry, but with industry comes lorries, and there have been numerous concerns about the number of these parking overnight, particularly around the Days-Inn area. Councils have worked with County to get the Holland Road Dudley Hill junction realigned to prevent so many lorries parking there. I spoke with the management of Kalina recently and was told that every lorry driver had been given a letter asking them to try to resolve the parking problems by giving consideration to our residents and telling them to park on industrial area roads only. Kalina have sadly lost one of its major clients recently, so at present there are a lot less lorries visiting their site, but the site next to them is undergoing development, so has a lot of lorries going there at the present. Concerns have been raised over the heavy traffic congestion in Witherfield Road. I find that it can take 20 minutes to drive from Howe Road to the Cangle in the rush hour. This is mainly caused by the number of cars parked nose to tail all along the road. Then if a bus and lorry come along at the same time, because there is no pull-in spaces, everything gridlocks. I feel very sorry for the residents along that road. The noise and inconvenience must be awful. The Planning Committee of Haverhill Town Council has made it very clear that no work should be undertaken on the proposed new housing developments until the infrastructure for the bypass to Rutting Road is in place. There are many health concerns in Haverhill, and our local GPs are overwhelmed with sheer numbers of patients and a shortage of doctors. People tend to think of the last population census of 27,000 plus residents being catered for, but in reality our GPs have 32,000 on the list due to the new houses having been built since the census. This is an increase of 5,000 residents on the list, and they are struggling due to the retirement of doctors too. The West Suffolk Clinical Commissioning Group are constantly trying to recruit new doctors, but there is a national shortage, and this is causing problems countrywide. They've tried various types of appointment systems, but one of the reasons these don't work is due to people making appointments and then not turning up. Last month alone, 230 patients didn't turn up for their appointments. This meant that 232 other needy patients couldn't get an appointment. Reminder systems are expensive to run and tie up staff. It is our responsibility to keep or cancel appointments. My mother used to run the local Friends of the Hospital scheme, and these groups have been active all over the country for many years. I feel it would be a good idea to have a Friends of our local health teams group, and in a way Haverhill has already started this, in that so many of you have helped me raise over 20,000 to purchase an ultrasound machine. This is currently on order, and because our GPs at the moment are unable to go on the necessary training course, a very kind and generous man has stepped in to help us. He is Nigel Beatson, Head of Imaging at West Suffolk Hospital, and he is setting up an annex to his diagnostic department here in Haverhill. This is very good news, actually. He will bring in his sonographers up to 4 days a week to run the clinics. In 12 months, 2,032 patients from Haverhill had scans, requiring them to travel out of the area, so this is good news for us. The equipment will have to be renewed approximately every 5 to 6 years, so I will continue to raise money for this and the bits that go with it. This is a centre we can build on. We already have our out-of-hours first aid, as Claudette Lyons and myself covered weekends from last May up to December by kind permission of the Burton Centre manager, who allowed us to be based there. In October, I met with the head of East Anglia Ambulance Service and asked him to consider basing 2 paramedics in Haverhill to treat and advise the walking wounded. He agreed to approach Dr. Ed Garrett of the Clinical Commissioning Group. And Ed and Matthew Hancock, our MP, recently made the announcement that this would be done. More good news. We are gradually building up a useful centre here, and if any of you would like to work with our Haverhill Community Wellbeing Fund team and become a friend of the health teams of Haverhill, please contact myself, Peter Wilkins, Treasurer, or Claudette Lyons, Secretary. You'll be very welcome. And this year, I thought it would be nice to introduce the Mayor of Haverhill Community Excellence Award Scheme. It has been very difficult to single out particular groups because we have so many selfless people in Haverhill giving freely of their time, day in, day out, all year round. However, I eventually chose 3 groups who do so much for this area in different ways. Firstly, could the representatives of the Haverhill First Responders come forward to receive a plaque and certificate? This will show our appreciation for all they do. This group is run on a voluntary basis. Stay here, David, a minute. David, stay here a minute. This group is run on a voluntary basis. Not only have they raised money for a large number of defibrillators for the area, but in the period from 1st to 30th of April, we're on call to support the East of England Ambulance Service for 1,696 hours. That's an average of 424 hours a month, free. During that period, they attended 227 patients in the Haverhill area, and amongst those were 6 cardiac arrests. We value this group very highly, so please show your appreciation with a good round of applause. My second award goes to our town pastors, who again give all their time freely. Are they here? This group is run on a voluntary basis again, and again give their time freely, dealing with quite a varied and difficult range of problems. Not only do they offer pastoral support with help with crime prevention, often caring for someone following an incident or following crime. There are 15 town pastors who work in pairs covering every Friday and Saturday night between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. So while we are tucked up safely in our beds, these kind, brave people are out there supporting vulnerable and upset souls, listening to problems and where necessary administrating first aid or calling an ambulance, because they've all taken the trouble to take their first aid certificate. And they also pick up bottles left lying around so that no one gets hurt. They deal with CCTV incidents. They carry water and chocolate and listen to people who feel no one cares about them. In the last year, they've handed out 100 bottles of water and 750 Freddo bars. They are truly good Samaritans and deserve this recognition, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. third choice is a group of ladies who take great pride in our local hygiene and toilet facilities. Would those ladies come forward, please? Okay. I'm finished there. Okay. When visitors come to our town, they particularly notice the excellence of our toilets, and particularly twinning groups from Germany and France, and they're often surprised that they're free, and the standard is very, very high, and it's rare for them to get a thank you. They deal with all sorts of problems and help visitors in many different ways, and they thoroughly deserve this award, and I'm sure that, again, will agree with me. Thank you. That is the end of my last, I'm afraid, rather long report. But I have two last duties to perform. That's to present a thank you gift to the two people who have kept in check my tendency to be butterfly-minded and rather over-enthusiastic at times. They are, of course, Vicky Phillips and Colin Poole. For the public to discuss any matters relating to the town of Haverhill. Would someone like to speak on it? I think there was someone who wanted to speak. Oh, Julian. Julian, you wanted to speak, didn't you? Julian? Yes?
I'm sorry, I'm a bit deaf, Madam Mayor. Excuse me.
There's a microphone coming over to you, Councillor Flood.
For those who don't know me, I'm Julian Flood, Town Councillor, County Councillor, and I'd like to give you a report of what we've been up to. I looked recently at road pollution on the Cangle Junction. The legal limit is 40 micrograms per cubic metre in a year. It's hit 38.3. So any minute, the Cangle Junction is going to go over the legal limit. When that happens, the county has to declare an air quality management area. Somebody gets fined. I haven't been able to find out who gets fined and who by, but there will be a fine, and it's going to get worse because we are developing north of the town, and those developments will kick in a lot more pollution. We need the bypass, but the problem is nobody is prepared to fund it. The answer is compulsory purchase, but we need money for that. I would suggest that we put pressure on the LEP, because we are going to provide a lot of workers for Cambridge from those new developments, and that's one of the functions of the LEP, to keep industry's wheels turning. I have a project that I want to get finished before I have to retire, and that is to improve access for baby buggies and mobility scooters throughout the town. It's very bad. I've had a few done. I can't do it alone. I need residents to actually approach their town councillors and talk about routes into town, or from where they live to places that they need to go that need improved access. Tell them, they'll tell me, and I'll spend my highways budget on that. I have a locality budget. I have just spent 2 big chunks of money on a flight simulator for the air training corps, and a big chunk on the Synergy Cafe, which is for people with Alzheimer's and their carers. A very, very worthy cause. I'll have more money to spend, so will your other county councillors. Approach them with worthy causes that need funding. Thanks to the Parkway residents for being a residents' association. Anybody who isn't in a residents' association and complains about things not getting done, form one. They're brilliant pressure groups, and they always make your county councillors, town councillors, borough councillors work harder. And finally, I'd like to apologise to the residents of Nayland Road and Cambridge Way. I tried everything I could think of to stop the developments there. I ran out of ideas. I even stood out one day with a bat detector trying to prove that there were bats living in the garages. Nothing worked. I'm sorry, but we do not have control over a lot of what goes on in this town. None of your elected representatives do. So the people there, my apologies.
Thank you, Councillor Flood. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on matters of the town? No? So I can go on to item 5.
Hang on.
Sorry?
Sorry, I think
John, okay. Slow then, mate.
I won't stand up, it's getting in the way. I just want to say thank you to you, Betty. No questions, of course, that's unusual for me. For your year in office, and Ivor's as well, with your help, and obviously David's input as well. It's been well appreciated by many people, I know that, and I just wish you the best for the future.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you. Item 5, we're very lucky this evening to have Samuel Ward Academy School Choir, and they are rather special.
Thank you. as lucky can be. Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chiroo. Good luck will rub off when I shake hands with you. Oh, blow me a kiss, and that's lucky too.
very much, everyone. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
I have to now declare the public meeting closed.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're now going to move on to the annual meeting of the Town Council. For those of you who came for the annual town meeting, that bit has completed, and so if anyone needs to slip out, that's fine, whilst we just swap over to the other meeting. If councillors would like to come forward and take their places, that'd be great. Thank you.
I would now like to declare the second part of the meeting open, and this is for the election of the new town mayor. But first, I'd like to welcome the Deputy Mayor of St Edmundsbury, District Chairman, Town Mayor Felixstowe, councillors, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're enjoying the evening so far. Thank you. Declaration of office and acceptance speech of David. Sorry. Nominations first of all. Forgot that. Sorry, David. Nominations for the new town mayor.
I nominate Councillor David Roach.
I have a proposer, a seconder, sorry, and a show of hands. I declare that David Roach has been elected the new mayor of Haverhill. Excuse me, my just
It's all right.
You have to bend over. Arise.
We need a declaration for me to sign. Right, this is the formal bit. I, David James Roach, having been elected to the office of Mayor of Haverhill Town Council, declare that I take the office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the Haverhill Town Council Code as to the conduct which is expected of members of the Haverhill Town Council. My first duty is to propose a vote of thanks to outgoing Mayor Betty McClutchie. I think we all agree that she has served this council and the town with dedication, resolve and a huge amount of energy. She has worked tirelessly and done above and beyond, I think, is the best way to describe it. And I have a big job to try and emulate what Betty's achieved. I think the town council has moved forward a long way, and we are all really, really keen to carry on working together to do the best that we can for Haverhill. And I think Betty's a wonderful example of that. And she's led us, and she's managed our meetings, and kept us working well together. So thank you, Betty, thank you very much for that. And of course, without Betty, we mustn't forget Ivor. There's also a town councillor, but Ivor has been at Betty's side all through it, and I think as a team they've been a really good double act. So congratulations to both of you. Thank you. And the next thing is I have the privilege of handing Betty her past Mayor's jewel. So.
Careful that pin.
There you go.
I'd like to wish David a very happy year. I've had a wonderful year and it's been a privilege to do it. And I'm not going to say any more because I think I've said enough tonight. Thank you very much.
Next item is to elect a deputy mayor. So can I please have a proposer proposed by Councillor Maureen Byrne and seconded
I'd like to propose Councillor Paula Fox for deputy, please.
and seconded by
20 people in a second.
loads of people seconded. Right. So show of hands please. Councillor Fox, you are duly elected. You now have one of those to as well.
I, Paula Fox, having been elected to the office of Deputy Mayor of Haverhill Town Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duty of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the Haverhill Town Council Code as to the conduct which is expected of members of the Haverhill Town Council.
Well done. Congratulations. Next item is apologies for absence. No, everyone's. I didn't think any had slipped out in the meantime. The next item is to resolve to suspend Standing Order 3E, as there will be no public forum on the grounds that this meeting directly followed the town meeting, so we've already in effect had the public forum. Yeah. Next item is declarations of interest. So for any members to declare any interest in the matters on the agenda. Are any councillors with any different? No? Item number 10 is the Mayor's Allowance. To agree the payment of the Mayor's Allowance in accordance with section 15(5) of the Local Government Act 1972. The budget allowed for this is to be £1,500. I need a proposer for that. Councillor Fox. That's Q for it. And seconded. All those in favour? And that is carried. Next item, number 11, Standing Committee's Terms of Reference. To confirm the terms of reference for the Standing Committees previously circulated. Again, a proposer please. Sorry? Has everybody had these and looked at them? So, proposer please. Councillor Burns. Seconder. Councillor Turner. Show of hands please. That's carried. To consider the appointment of any new committee. I don't think we have any coming forward. So committees will stay as they are. Next item is appointment to committees. To appoint councillors to the following committees. Planning Committee, 8 councillors. Before we start, we've already, I think, resolved that we'll take them on block, unless anybody wishes to review that. So Councillor Byrne?
Yeah, I believe you're correct, Mr Mayor. I'd like to propose that we do take them on block as discussed previously and provisionally supported.
Yeah. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Fox. Keith. All those in favour? Again, that's carried. So I'll just go through. Planning Committee consists of 8 councillors. Leisure and Community Committee is the Mayor plus 8 councillors. Personnel Committee is the Mayor plus 4 councillors. Appeals Committee is 5 councillors. And then appointments to any committee is at the discretion of the council following needs. But there isn't at this stage. Item 13 is appointment of chairs and vice chairs of committees. So these are as discussed. So the proposal for Planning Committee we have.
These things is really all out.
Yeah. Okay. So Planning Committee we have Councillor Hannon and Councillor Chivers. Leisure and Community is Councillor Burns and Councillor Fox. Personnel Committee is Councillor Byrne and Councillor Taylor. And the Turner, sorry. It's these new glasses.
It's the weight of that chair.
No, these really are new glasses. And the Appeals Committee is Councillor Brown and Councillor Robbins. If all councillors are happy, then we carry on. Yeah. So we'll take those as proposed and second. So, all those in favour? Thank you. Item 14 is to appoint the Finance Committee. So, appoint 4 additional members to the Finance Committee in addition to the Mayor and Chairs appointed under the above item. So we have proposals for Councillor McClatchy, Bramwell, Robbins and Turner. Proposed Councillor Burns, seconded. Councillor Fox. Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you again, that's carried. Next item is appointment to outside bodies. Sorry. We have to appoint the chair of the Finance Committee. So the proposal.
I'm proposing we have Councillor David Roach as chair.
Seconded. Yeah. Show of hands. Thank you.
Sorry, can we have a show of hands?
Yeah. Can we have a show of hands? Sorry, please.
All right.
Yeah. To appoint Vice Chair of the Finance Committee, we have a proposal with John Burns. Is that proposed?
That proposed.
Proposed.
Seconded by Councillor Byrne.
Again, all those in favour? The next item is appointment to outside bodies. To agree with appointments of representatives to outside bodies. 1 Haverhill. Now this consists of the Mayor, Clerk and 3 other councillors. So we have a we have proposals for Councillor McClatchy, Hanlon and Williams, plus Councillor Byrne as substitute. Do I got a proposal for that? Councillor Burns and Councillor and Secretary Fox.
I'll take a proposal from Councillor Crooks.
Crooks,
Is
sorry,
a
yeah.
seconder for something?
Second, John Burns.
Sorry.
All those in favour? Again, that's carried. Item 16, review of... Sorry. Oh, sorry. Haverhill Disability Forum. We have a proposal, please, for Councillor Fox. Is that a proposal for Councillor Byrne? Seconding Councillor McClatchy. Youth Advisory Group. Oh, sorry. Show of hands first. Sorry, I'm rattling through. So that's carried. Next one, Youth Advisory Group. Proposal for Councillor Paula Fox. And seconder, Councillor Brown. Again, all those in favour?
that's carried.
Next one is review of standing orders and financial regulations. Standing orders and financial regulations remain up to date following their review and adoption in February 2016.
We're not proposing any changes to that, so that can just be taken as read.
Number 17, to confirm the appointment of independent internal auditor. To confirm continuation of a 5-year contract with Helis and Lodge, which started in October 2015 and expires in May 2020. Need a proposal and seconder.
I'll propose.
Mr. Hanley, then second.
Show of hands, please, for that. Thank you. That's carried. Number 18 is the annual accounts and return. So it's the adoption of the annual accounts for 2015-16.
Okay, so in the councillor's packs you have pages of this document. This is a return that goes to the external auditor, and you're required to first have a look at the income and expenditure accounts, and then have a look at the annual governance statements. So you have an income and expenditure account, which you will see matches the figures in this return. So we need a proposal.
So can I have a proposal, please? And a seconder? And all those in favour if you're ready? Thank you. That's carried. So over the page to that is the balance sheet. So it looks a bit like that. Again, proposer for that. Councillor Burns. And a seconder. Councillor McClatchy then. Again, show of hands please, all those in favour. Thank you, that's carried. The next one is to accept the internal auditor's report.
In this particular case, the audit is coming tomorrow, so you'll do that at the next meeting.
So we'll defer that until the next full council meeting.
The next annual governance statement.
So yeah, the annual governance statement is next.
So if people are happy for that document to be signed,
Yeah.
proposal and second is required.
Proposal please.
I'll propose.
Seconded, Councillor Byrne. Next item is the annual return to the... To approve section 1 and 2 of the annual return for the year ending 31st of March 2016. Again, proposal please. Councillor Fox. Again, all those in favour? Next item is earmarked reserves as at 31st of March 2016. And councillors will find that in their packs.
So what councillors have in front of them here is a list of the earmarked reserves, which currently total £1,057,909, and that is basically the reserves which are put aside for a particular purpose. Much of that is kind of the mundane depreciation on items that will need eventually replacing, things like technical equipment, website maintenance. There's an election reserve, so we spread the cost of a general election, which for a council here it can cost £7,000 or £8,000. If we did a full election around, it could cost £20,000. So we save that money up, spread over the 4 years into a reserve. We also have some significant funds set aside for things such as the youth strategy and also property reserve. The Mayor earlier mentioned the Corn Exchange, so it's the funds that have been put aside by the council for that as well. There's a significant long-term maintenance provision for this building. There's a Section 17 reserve, which is money set aside by the council to cover any commitments it makes to helping fight crime and disorder in town. And also we have a reserve that's been set up for the Leiston Community Centre, which will be transferred to the Town Council at some point this year. There's a reserve for youth skills, that's the apprenticeship programme. So that's funds that have been given by third parties towards the funding of that post. And also we have a pensioners reserve, which is some funds that were donated to us when the Old Age Pensions Association in Haverhill closed. Money's recently been transferred to us to spend specifically on the needs of older people in town. So there's quite a long and eclectic mix, but we have to identify it all very carefully. We're not allowed to just sit on money for no good reason, and the reasons are set out in the earmarked reserves, and that is online if anyone wants to look at it. So it's good to say that.
Yeah, so if you're happy to accept that, Council, I need a proposal and a second again. And second to Councillor Burnham. Show of hands, please. Thank you, again, that's accepted. The last one on the list for this section is the assets register.
Okay, so the assets register is a very, very small handwriting, small writing, so I'm not my glasses won't be able to read it. Yes, there's 922,000 worth of assets. Now the bulk of that is the money that the council puts aside in a unit trust, which is the CCLA Local Authority Property Fund, which makes up £500,000. That is returning a rate of interest that's giving the council well over £5,000 a quarter towards the revenue of the council. You will know from your own personal experience and any organisation you're involved in, is that trying to find somewhere that we can put our money that is secure and returns anything like a decent rate of interest is very, very hard for anyone nowadays. But putting that money in there and getting £5,000 a quarter is really the equivalent of having an extra 200 houses paying council tax in Haverhill. So it is a significant thing to be able to have that extra money coming in, otherwise that cost would be spread amongst everybody else. So that's counted in the accounts as a fixed asset, which has significantly boosted things. The rest of the items are what you might expect there to be, which is things like marquees. There's the horse trough down in the centre of town. There's Bevan House, of course, which is the old council headquarters. And then there's a large amount of equipment that the council owns that runs this place as a cinema and theatre. So that's how the total gets added up. So if councillors are happy with that as a register, we propose
Proposer, please, for that. Councillor Burns, second Councillor Catchy. Again, all those in favour? That's carried. The next item is to confirm all relevant insurances are in place and inspection of insurance. So I can confirm that we have the relevant paperwork for our liability insurance and all bits of it. So I'm quite happy with that. The next one is to confirm dates and times of meetings of council and committee. And members have got a copy of the calendar for the year ahead so far. Again, I don't think there's any major changes. Sorry, Councillor Brown.
Yeah, can I just ask that we ensure that our dates do not clash either with Suffolk County Council or Borough, where the majority of councillors on the Town Council should be elsewhere. I think, I don't know if the Borough have set their dates, but I think we've had 2 or 3 clashes and it's unacceptable. We should be able to set the dates for our meetings and expect our councillors to be available.
Hopefully, when the last Mayor of Devonsbury was here, one before last I suppose, he did reassure us that St Devonsbury would set their meetings as we requested a good year in advance, so that all the parish and town councils in St Devonsbury would have the opportunity to set their dates. However, it is the nature of the beast that sometimes councils have to pull in an extra meeting, and unfortunately sometimes those will clash. But rest assured,
The point I'm making is it appears to be us that have to change our agenda as opposed to others changing theirs. I just make the point because it's not good business. It's not a good way to do business.
it's not ideal. I would suggest that the difficulty is if it wasn't us, it would simply be, and it probably isn't us alone. There'll be loads of other councils that meet on a Tuesday night affected, but then there'll be councils on a Wednesday or a Monday night as well. So it feels like it's us, but I'm quite sure other parishes feel like it's them.
Don't make excuses, Colin.
Yeah. I think the essence of that is that we will endeavour to make sure that we don't clash, and if we see a clash, then everybody will have due notice so that we can try and mitigate or change things as best we can. But yeah, your point is well taken, considering that a number of the town councils also sit on borough and county. So I need a proposal and second for that. So Councillor Burns and Councillor Brown. Show of hands, please. Can make this confirmed. Next item is to confirm minutes of the meeting held on 26th of April 2016. So you all have a copy of those minutes. Proposer.
Sorry.
All those in favour? Next item is to deal with any urgent matters arising from those minutes.
Councillors would be, if they have a look at C16066, dates for outdoor surgeries, one of them is Monday, June the 27th. That's a proposed date for the Haverhill Area Working Party. No, we're not doing that anymore, sorry, I've just gone back in time. The Haverhill Area Forum, which has been proposed for members of the public, following the demise of the Haverhill Area Working Party, the councillors here felt it was still important for councillors from all different levels, county, borough as well as town, to get together, and therefore have proposed that we get together not only with Suffolk but also our neighbours in Cambridgeshire and in Essex, and invite all the neighbouring parishes, the neighbouring district borough councillors and neighbouring divisional county councillors from all three counties to come together to talk about issues, bearing in mind Haverhill is right on the border and is a very large town indeed. So we found a date where the auditorium is free because there's a lot of people coming, and also that there are no county, borough or town meetings happening. We're bound to hit some meetings of parishes and counties across the border, unfortunately. So what I would suggest, if council are happy with this, is that we hold that meeting at 7:15 for 7:30 start, and that will allow the outdoor surgery at Laceham Road Shops to start at 6 o'clock as planned. It will finish 6:45, 7, and we'll give enough time for councillors to get back here for 7:15, 7:30 start, if that works for you.
Is that acceptable? Yeah.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Can I also just mention that in terms of the area forum, we've already had 2 parish councils from Cambridgeshire who've caught wind of our plans from reading the local paper, have already asked to be invited. So that's a fairly promising start, that they think it's certainly worthwhile having a conversation.
Will you just circulate those many times?
I'll circulate those amount of times and also get the invitations out to people so they get in their diaries as soon as possible.
Thank you. Councillor Burns?
Yes. So can I ask about C16063, which actually inspector was up there. Do we know if the police reports are now available now?
Well, actually,
So,
I don't know whether Inspector Cooper wants to answer that.
I don't know if you know.
Yes, sorry. They are not available as yet. However, I am assured that by the next newsletter, on the 7th of June, the these will be available. That's the date.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, Inspector Cooper did talk me through the website, and the page you went to at the last meeting is where stuff will eventually.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you, Inspector Cooper. Next item is adoption of committee reports. So the first one, to move the adoption of the planning committee minutes held on the 3rd of May 2016. The councillors will have a copy of those. So move Councillor Hanlon. Second it. Yeah, so heads on the swivel. Right. Show of hands for those in favour. Thank you, that's carried. Again, for the Leisure and Committee meeting, to move the adoption of the minutes of that meeting held on the 3rd of May 2016. Proposal, please. Show of hands, please. Right. To note the date of the next meeting of the Haverhill Town Council, which will be on the 21st of June 2016. So, firstly, just before I close the meeting, I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming. I hope you sort of enjoyed our town meeting and seeing our little ceremony. And the school choir from Samuel Wood were excellent, and I think that was a really welcome addition to the evening. I am chuffed to bits to be elected as Mayor for this council. They are a wonderful bunch of councillors, and they work very, very hard on behalf of all of the town, and they have the best interest of the town completely and utterly straight through the middle like a stick of rock. And we work well together. I think it's the best working council that I've ever seen, and certainly probably for some of the members that have served for a long time, I think they'll agree that we do have a good working relationship. So thank you everybody for giving me the privilege of being the mayor. I hope to do it justice. I hope to spread the good word of Haverhill far and wide and try and emulate Betty in all that she's done. So thank you very much. And on that note, I will declare the meeting closed.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is a reception through the bar area. Councillors have got a little photocall to do. They need to post for some photographs, but don't let that delay stop you getting to the food and drink. I'll get there before they do, but I'll delay them as long as I possibly can. Thank you very much for coming along.